Kevin Cheveldayoff, you have a challenge. Figure out what Patrick Laine's worth. Now, we're about midway through Season 3, and of course, there have been a lot of numbers bantered about that I've heard as high as 10, 11 million. Don't. Based on the production his first 3 seasons, if you look at them in a vacuum, absolutely, yes. This kid scores more than a goal every 2 games. Pay him whatever. The sky's the limit. There's something with Laine that bugs me. And I'm going to say this too, for people who want to say Laine's better than Matthews, the answer to that is no. Any counter argument, the answer to that is no. It's just, there's no comparison between Matthews and Laine. The difference between the two to me is simple. When Laine's not producing, he to me seems less useful than does Matthews. Now I understand Matthews has had his cold streaks too. Kids are going to do that. But to me, Matthews is the better player of the two. I think this year's kind of shown it. Even though goals-wise, Laine's still ahead. But, you know, it's easy to get seduced by the numbers of this kid who can go through hot streaks. But, man, when he gets cold. And even last year, you know, he had 1 goal in his last 11 regular season games. And I understand he was dealing with an injury. But he also had 1 goalless streak in the middle of the year that was 7 games long. He had a couple of 5-game streaks. It's not a good look for a kid who's trying to get his big payday. His first year, he had 73 games played, 36 goals, 28 assists, and that's when, you know, the Laine Matthews talk was huge. 2017, 2018, 82 games played, 44 goals, 26 assists, 70 points. And Jets fans will point out, if not for nagging injury, he probably would have scored 50, but I don't know, maybe. This year, through 43 games, he has 24 goals, 8 assists, 32 points. And again, it's seductive because those 24 goals in 43 games project out to almost 50 goals over a full season, right? So he's great, right? No. And this is where it gets really frustrating. Over his last 19 games, he's had 3 goals. 19 games, 3 goals. Youch. He's a -8 over that period. Now, I know, again, and I always say this, people talk about plus-minus as not being a reliable stat. But for me, plus-minus over a small period of time when you're looking at one player, it does matter. And his -8 when he's only getting 3 goals, that means he's likely being caught out of position defensively. He's had 50 shots over those last 19 games. And he's been a guy who's had, you know, really, really good shooting percentages first couple of years. This year, probably pretty good overall. But over the last 19 games, no. 3 goals on 50 shots. 5 assists over the last 19. So, I mean, it's been a running joke for me that he doesn't get assists, he just gets goals. Now, his assists have gone up. But it's gone up in relation to his goals because he's stopped scoring goals. So that's why we're talking about his 8 assists and 24 goals, because he stopped scoring goals. The team has won 13 games over those last 19. So the good news if you're a Jets fan is this. Patrick Laine is not a key to your success right now. But Blake Wheeler's getting older. And at some point you got to hand the reins over to Scheifele and the kids, right? So Laine should be one of those core guys. But is he? Really? Because again, you know, he had 13 goals over 6 games this year. 13 out of 24. So he's had 11 goals over the other 37. Not fantastic. 11 goals in 37 games. Not worth $10 million. 13 goals over 6 games. Boosts that up. It'll be interesting to see where he thinks he's at, where the team thinks he's at, where his agent thinks he's at, and what kind of number they come to. Because honestly, he's -12 on the season, -8 over the last 19 games. And remember, this is on a team that's pretty solid. One of the better teams in the league. Team with a decent goal differential. And his defensive numbers, not great. And his goals over the last 20 games, also not great. Last 19 games, he's had 3. His last 20 games, he's had 5. So, Either way you look at it, they're not Patrick Laine totals. I don't know where this ends up. I really don't. And it's funny because you can watch a Jets game and barely notice Laine's in it. And that says a lot about a guy who is probably going to be one of your top paid players next year. So does Kevin Cheveldayoff going into negotiations look at the inconsistency and say, look, he scores a lot over a short period of time? Or does he just look at the final numbers and go, we don't care how you get to 40 goals, you get there. Here's your 10 million, 11 million, 9 million, whatever he gets amount of money. It's going to be interesting to see because, again, for me, even though he's got 104 goals in 198 games, which is more than a goal every 2 games, I would be very hesitant about opening up and giving him huge money. Because I really think long term, as he gets older, those droughts can get longer. And those moments when he gets a lot of goals in very few games can be shorter and less impressive. But I would be very interested to know what you guys think, especially from you Jets fans. How do you feel about Laine? How much do you think he gets? And do you think maybe you just make it a short-term contract? Show me. Because honestly, for me with Patrick Laine, I'm on the fence. I don't know. As impressive as he looks, and I was at the Canucks game where he scored the hat trick. He looked good that night. But then you look at the other games, and it makes it more stark when he's going through these huge lulls in scoring. And I don't know. I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Is he hurting the Jets? Is he at Tyler Myers' level of hurting the Jets or below Tyler Myers' level of hurting the Jets? Be interested to know what you guys have to say. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happen upon this video. And hey, now that I've talked about it, odds are he goes on a run. That's usually the way these things work. Talk about a losing streak, a winning streak. Player can't score or scores a bunch. Right after I do a video, they turn it around. So there you go. You're welcome, Laine, and you're welcome, Jets. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.